Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And with our powers combined, we are 8/12ths of the unstoppable force that is Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. It's a podcast about the news that occasionally wanders into humor when you least expect it.
Well, I was going to say, just a quick little check there. That maths, correct.
Thank you.
8 out of 12 is 2 threes out of
I am
12.
Nothing if not good maths. English, no good. Why use many words when few will do? So it's a podcast about the news, and there is no other news this week except the Epstein emails. That's the biggest thing that has ever happened in the history of the universe, as it turns out.
Yeah. Who knew that there were Epstein files that weren't even the Epstein files people were yelling for?
Yeah, there were Epstein addenda, Epstein annexes.
Yeah, because when so essentially this week, people might have seen a lot of reports, both just from social media chatter, but also from news websites of various thing of Jeffrey Epstein writes in email that photo of Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre not doctored. He corroborates it's real, or says he knows the dirty side of Trump and stuff. And you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Well, a whole bunch of emails and just stuff, 20,000 documents, I think, were released by the Epstein estate from a subpoena. I think I think
this relates to the Democrat stuff, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Yeah. So we're just subpoenaed out and have been just dumped in a Google Drive that I believe is public.
Cool.
The Democrats have released them as public. So, you yourself can just go in and have a look. And that's what journalists are doing. They are just going through them. And as they find delicious morsels to sprinkle out, they have been.
Just absolute, a delicious fodder for LLMs, just the horniest LLMs you'll ever see going on all this gross fucking material.
Could you imagine an LLM that's just trained on the 20,000 documents released from Epstein's estate?
It couldn't be trusted.
On crack.
It would have to stay 500 feet away from a school at all times.
Oh my God. It'd just be something you'd ask it something and it would say, "That's an interesting point you raised. Did you know I blew Bubba?"
So what we're talking about there is an email that's part of this
top story this week.
Top story. There's an email from Jeffrey Epstein to, I think it was Ghislaine Maxwell, to someone else, which, oh my God, it's absolutely coming down here.
Oh, is it raining out there in Melbourne? Yeah.
It's picking it up on the mic, I think.
Yeah. Speaking when it might have been raining, so this email exchange, it wasn't between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah,
this was between Epstein and his brother, Mark. So
the lesser
they
Epstein.
were emailing back and forth, and saying essentially, Jeffrey Epstein said he was currently hanging out with Bannon, who people have read to be Steve Bannon. I think this conversation happened in 2018.
Reasonable to assume.
So about a year before Jeffrey Epstein died and during the first Trump administration. So White House Chief of Staff Steve Bannon. As saying hanging with Bannon, and his brother Mark said, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba.
And Bubba presumably is a nickname for
someone.
People think it's Bill Clinton.
Yeah, people think it's Bill Clinton. I don't know quite how they got there, but then now that people have gone there to be I think, hang on, we're skipping over the point. Photos of Trump blowing someone?
The photos. It's not as we're creating photos. He's referring to photos as if the photos exist.
That he believes have been taken. And this has been, this has hit the internet with people being like, is this real? Come on. And crazily enough, not the blowing story, has not been proven at this stage, but the email exchange is real.
The emails are real.
Depends how much you trust the Epstein brothers.
I mean, it's
telling the truth in private.
But commonly known as unimpeachable sources. The Epstein brothers. The amount of foresight that it would take to create an email chain for after he's been unalived in prison for a potential future second Trump administration disclosure, years and years down the fact. It seems like a weird breadcrumb
weird
trail
thing
to lay in advance if it wasn't real. I just don't think it's real because Trump as a malignant narcissist, I think, is incapable of giving in any way, like especially sexually. So I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, it would upend my reality if this is true.
It would break the
like,
simulation. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Everyone talks about how much of an enigma like Donald Trump is. Just like he's so crazy. He says weird things. How does his brain work? All that sort of stuff. But I feel like I've listened to enough podcasts and I've like read the book by his niece and all that sort of stuff where you hear his life story laid out in front of you and you're like, nah, he makes total sense. Of course he'd be a complete and utter narcissist who never admits fault when his father, like Frederick Christ Trump, would like tell him, like, you know, the worst thing than doing something wrong is admitting that you've done something wrong. He's like, oh yeah, he makes total
literally
sense. Literally
mentored by Roy Cohn, like infamous historical piece of shit. Like,
yeah, so you're like, no, he totally makes sense. He's not an enigma at all. If I then found out that he partakes in sucking dick, nope. That does not compute with any other concept that I have of this man.
It would be slightly,
my reality.
Slightly mind blowing. I just nothing would get the MAGA base offside faster than it's just like fascism. Yeah, that's fine. A little sprinkle of neo-Nazism in there. Whatever we can do.
Totally
with
fine.
It. Gay? Oh, I don't know if we can metabolize that exactly. I don't know. Bisexual? I don't know if we can. I don't know about that.
Holy shit. Maybe that's why like all these fucking conservative tech bro shit heels have been pushing AI image generation so hard so that if these images do come out, we can all discredit them.
Create plausible deniability for reality.
Yeah. And let's talk about it being Bill Clinton for a second here. Because I don't know how people got there, but can you... That is... Like, what timeline would we be in where the big scandal that undoes Donald Trump is that he blew Bill Clinton, husband of Hillary Clinton, who he ran against and was constantly railing against? And there's people have dug up tweets where Trump made digs at Hillary not being able to satisfy her husband and stuff like that. And now in this hindsight, you're like, wait a minute, is that because you know what Bill? Because
I know what it takes to satisfy Bill Clinton. Is an incredible penis, the most beautiful penis you've ever seen. Incredible, handsome man. Makes sense why he's always talking about Marines and how tall and muscular and handsome they are.
Right.
I don't think it's true, but I would love for it so much to be true.
God,
it would make me laugh so hard.
True. It's just like that being the dirty little secret that comes out of Trump's relationship with Epstein.
That's the thing,
right? Yeah. Like we've all been like, oh, it's clearly underage girls. Like beauty pageanty, like awful massages,
and that was
stuff.
The thing. It's like there were emails between Ghislaine and I think it was Ghislaine and Epstein, Jeffrey, the original OG Epstein, talking about how Trump was with victim, redacted, presumably Virginia Joffrey. They didn't say who it is. For several hours, and Trump quote knew about the girls unquote was the quote.
Yeah.
So it's like. And they're talking about like how best to utilize this information against Trump now that he's been elected. Oh, and the thing which really fucked me off initially about all of this was the interaction between Michael Wolff, the writer.
The writer who did like Fire and Fury.
I've read a couple of his books, and I always wonder like, how does he get access to all these fucking weirdos?
Why?
How does he know all of this shit? Why do they keep just
letting this man listen to all the dodgy shit?
Yeah, well, it turns out because he's like mates with them, obviously, because there's oh my God, this rain is just ridiculous. It's going to break down the roof. So there's a couple of lines.
For a hell of a show. Just in the middle of the feed, you're stealing KFC.
Is it hailing? Dear God.
This is great radio. I can't hear shit. So.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'll do some noise reduction in post, and hopefully that won't make it through. But yeah, Michael Wolff and the journalist quote unquote, and Epstein were like clearly having a sort of back and forth about all of this.
Yeah, which we've talked about before because he's like talked about, I was with Epstein and he showed me photos of
X, and I was like
Z.
close to Trump, and I reckon they fell out over this real estate deal, and it might have been Trump that dobbed in Epstein to the FBI because they sort of fell out and
had a feud.
Yeah, and that's what started his legal troubles. And so like Michael Wolff has been really close to the people central in this story, and so here's the quote from Ghislaine. So Jeffrey Epstein says to Ghislaine Maxwell in 2011, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim name. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 76% there. So I guess they're saying, Trump hasn't turned on me in this sort of like sexual assault case, this underage girl sort of case that he's dealing with at the time. And then, maybe I can use that to leverage against Trump at some point later or something like that. And then Ghislaine Maxwell writes back, I have been thinking about that, which kind of like undermines the whole thing about Trump saying, that Ghislaine said that she never saw Trump do anything inappropriate, and all of a sudden she's in this fancy prison cell and she's getting doggy visits from training dogs and getting special meals and all this sort of stuff. So there's also another email. So from Jeffrey
to Michael Wolff,
something about redacted victim at Mar-a-Lago, and then something redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign, never remember ever. Of course, he knew about the girls. That's a quote, knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. So this is to Michael Wolff. So Michael Wolff had this interaction with Jeff Epstein in 2019. And this is like obviously after he's been, convicted, but I guess before he's in prison. So directly addressing some sort of thing that Trump knew about Epstein and the girls. So that's really sus.
And and it sounds like poaching someone from Mar-a-Lago,
which we know
or at
to
least
be
at Mar-a-Lago.
Virginia Joffre.
We know. Presumably. Her situation was that she encountered them first working at Mar-a-Lago, right, as a teenager.
Yeah, and this one from 2015. So this is Michael Wolff writing to Jeffrey Epstein. I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. And then Jeff Epstein writes him an email saying, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? We, together, crafting an answer for the guy who's 2015, it's at this stage, he's won the presidency.
This is December 2015.
So he's won the presidency at this stage. They know he's going to be president-elect at this point. And then Michael Wolff says, and the choice of words here is just incredible in hindsight, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, I guess maybe it was still under dispute at this time. The election's already happened. Anyway, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime.
Sorry, let me clarify there. This is 2015, so this is a year before the election, because the election happens in 2016.
17. So he's running. Not president.
Yeah, he's running.
Sorry, I got my years mixed up there. So he's running. They know he's running for president. He's possibly going to win at this stage, but he hasn't won yet. So they're thinking, okay, we've got this like leverage on the president. He's going to deny the relationship, saying you were a good guy, and then you can use that to potentially leverage something out of him later on because he doesn't want to be associated with you. But the fact that like Michael Wolff, a journalist, is like offering a convicted pedophile advice, like goes way beyond
like PR advice.
Yeah, and like strategy
like
advice.
Media strategy.
Like I knew Michael Wolff was a piece of shit. I don't think I quite really clocked how much of a piece of shit Michael Wolff is, because
that's crazy.
You're conferring with him in a very like personal, direct way, but you're offering advice to him as to how to manage the Trump issue, how to leverage potentially the next president of the United States.
Yeah. How do you, the convicted pedophile, come off the best in this situation? Here's how you do it. fucking
Just the use of the word hang in retrospect is unfortunate. Yes. He says hang himself multiple times. And Jeff's like, that's not a bad idea. That's an interesting idea.
I'm just going to file that away.
Just pop that away. So, I mean, I'm really not a conspiracy theory guy for the most part. But gosh, you know, they say no smoke without a fire. It's real smoky. It's real smoky in here at the moment.
Oh, it's smoking. It's just so hard. But I think it's just also how these people email is fucking insane.
Yes.
Like, if you actually read these emails back and forth, but especially from Epstein, like, you know, you read Michael Wolff's stuff there and it seems very kind of normal. I'm trying to find the exact quotes about the whole Bubba thing. Do you have that?
No, it's not in these ones. Those are separate.
The way that they emailed back and forth is just like the skipping words, like heaps of
the grammar's
like
all over the place.
Punctuation.
There should be a Grammarly should the AI automated writing fix-it tool should absolutely jump on these emails as a PR move.
Like the one between him and Ghislaine with the about, you know, the dog that hasn't barked or whatever. He's like, all lowercase, like, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump, ... Victim spent hours at my house with him, ... He's never once been mentioned, ... Lots of spaces, police chief, ... etc. ... I am with no capital I or apostrophe, 75% there. No, like, what? This is how you people.
It's like they're writing emails like people text. Like, I don't even text that badly. I text in full sentences because I have respect for myself. But
yeah, it's just like reading through some of these are crazy. Also, the Ghislaine Maxwell's email is Gmax is very funny. Gmax 1 and G vacation.
Jeffrey
Epstein's one.
G vacation.
I don't know. Just seeing into these people's cooked emails.
These fucking weirdos.
Subject RE blank. Like, it's a reply email to a blank subject header. I don't know. This is chaos.
Offensive.
I don't know why that grinds my gears so much.
No, I agree. But it hurts. So, I mean,
well, like we said, these aren't the Epstein files that everyone's been shouting about, though. Like, you know, for ages, but everyone's saying release the Epstein files. These are just stuff that's been released by Epstein's estate and then also like put out by the Democrats. What people have been yelling about is getting whatever the Department of Justice, the DOJ, may or may not have, that Pam Bondi may or may not have had on her desk at that time, and all that sort of stuff. So. Yeah,
I mean, presumably email communications might be part of that, but they might not be. This one might be extra. And the fact that it's like 20,000 files that have
documents
been released. I mean, as I said, the LLMs are going to be hungry for this material. They're going to be. I just imagine a bunch of citizen, quote unquote, journalists, sort of sifting through all of this material and coming to their own sort of conspiracy-addled conclusions. But like, it's such a massive thing now that's like everyone's going to be on this. Like, this is just the stuff we've discovered in the first
couple days.
Day and a half since this dropped. Like, and Carolyn Leavitt, she's such a Trump toady. She can't help herself. The press secretary. She's saying,
the press secretary.
All this proves is that Trump did the right thing and nobody knows nothing. And end of questions. And someone was asking him. They were in a press conference about something else, and someone starts asking about the Epstein emails, and the press and the press corps just gets emptied out of the room. Everyone, they're like, okay, done. We're done with questions. Shutting it down. It's like that scene in 30 Rock where they just shut it down, Lemon. And just everyone's running around. She's like, don't, thanks, press. Get the fuck out. Everyone get the fuck out of here right now. It's just like complete, absolute DEFCON 1 damage control at the White House. It's so funny.
It's so insane. Like, and from the quotes from Epstein of like, I know how dirty like Donnie T is or something.
Yeah.
Like,
people calling him Donica Lewinsky now. Oh, so funny.
It's very funny.
So funny. He's just a gift. I bet Kamala Harris is looking at all this going, I can't believe I lost to this motherfucker. I cannot. Democratic opposition researchers, I will never forgive you.
I was going to say, Kamala, I can believe you did. because that campaign was atrocious.
Well, I mean, she had
Like-
whatever 97 days to pull it together, but she
Yeah.
did what every Democrat does and listens to their consultants, and got pulled to the fucking, the what was the name, Cheney, Liz, the Liz Cheney end of the spectrum, just like,
and like incrementalism, don't make big swings.
Yeah, what do we
Meanwhile,
want?
Mamdani just takes over New York.
Literally.
Anyway, speaking of the DOJ though, Epstein files. So a petition. I forget who this petition was from, but a petition has essentially reached the required number of signatures that forces the House to vote on legislation that would require the DOJ to release all the unclassified documents relating to the Epstein case.
So it's called a discharge petition, and basically this is why there was a 218th member of the House, a Democrat, who was waiting to be seated, but like Mike Johnson was like refusing to have sessions of Congress to like sort of kick the ball down the road and kind of avoid this. Yeah, to delay it as long as possible. So he like, we're busy, and then this has happened, and well, we're on recess, and I'll seat you. The government shutdown. Like, we can't possibly seat you. Like, and anyway, the government shutdown ended, which we'll talk about in a sec. She was seated, but there's also like another by-election where it's like a Republican was also coming in, so they're basically trying to run down the clock to see, if we can delay seating the Democrat first, and if we can get the Republican in, it's a 1-for-1 switch. They don't have 218 because like members of Congress like Marjorie Taylor Greene and like other Republicans have also signed this discharge petition to have this stuff released.
I want to see what's in there.
Anyway, so when this woman was seated, Moreno, I think her name was, just immediately like the first thing she did was sign the discharge petition. Amazing. Just like, let's go. And so, the vote, as I understand it, has gone ahead, and so they're going to have to force the release of these documents now. Whether Trump is going to, like, try and veto this or like try and kill it in the Senate or something like that, I don't know. But like already we're seeing subpoenaed materials like being, I guess, leaked or distributed in some way as a result of this.
Well, Donnie, you could just release the photo of you blowing Bubba, and then no one will ask any more questions.
Allegedly.
Everyone will be like, what?
If it exists.
Oh, God. Because, like, this is like the PP tape. Remember when everyone was talking about the PP tape?
Remember when the PP tape was the worst possible thing that we could imagine?
That could have happened.
That Trump hired sex workers and peed on them, and there was allegedly a video of it, which never came to light. But so the Democratic representative was Adelita Rivalda. She won a special election in Arizona 7 weeks ago, but they were trying to sort of delay seating her.
It's so funny. They are so terrified of releasing these documents, which just makes it look worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it'll suck if
not acting
they
like
come
an
out
innocent
and
person,
there's not a bombshell. Like when we were all hyped up for the Mueller report,
Mueller
yonks
time
ago, being like, "Yeah, it's Mueller time, get him!" And they're like, "Look, there's no there," and you're like, "You serious, bro? Like all the stuff we've been hearing about, you serious, bro? There's no there." I'm like, "Fuck you." Mueller.
He said, but that's not quite what the Mueller report said. Like, here are all these like issues of smoke, but I'm not going to contend that there's enough evidence to convict for a fire, sort of thing. Anyway, that's aside. No, it was basically punting it to Congress to impeach him in that whole thing. So anyway,
I remember that being very much you were meant to destroy the Sith, not join them kind of moment. So
the thing is, okay, so I'm rewatching The Wire because my wife's never seen it, so we're watching it together.
I've never seen The Wire. I need to watch that.
It's good, but there's a scene where like the deputy ops chief, sort of deputy police commissioner, basically they find this guy who's a driver for a politician who's holding a bag of money which came from the projects where this sort of like drug operation is located. They pick this guy up and he's got $20,000 in cash. It's obviously like some corrupt drug money that's going to the politician, right? Anyway, so they pick him up, and then the police operations deputy tells them to let him go and give him the money back. And, the lieutenant's talking about it with his wife afterwards, and they said, they told us to, follow the drugs. And, we did that, and we're, uncovering the whole operation. But you follow the money and you never know where the money's going to go, sort of thing. Like, I feel like this is kind of what the situation is that's unfolding with Trump is like, we've, you sort of open the lid of all this thing with Epstein, and we sort of go after the sex traffickers, and he's arrested and Ghislaine's arrested, but like as soon as you start opening up this Pandora's box and all the links and the emails and there's business relationships, and like you have no idea where the fuck it's going to go and who it's going to spread, who it's going to spiderweb out to, all these people that are involved in this conspiracy, like, and the fact that it's just like thousands of documents have been made public now is just like, I can just tell this is going to be like news stories for weeks. It's crazy how Trump's attempt at Nazism is like second place in news to this. It's just the story that keeps on giving. Like,
it's the one thing that can stick to Teflon Don.
Yeah, it really is for whatever reason.
Story.
Because he built his identity so much around the QAnon thing, which is like anti like child sex trafficking.
And so much of his
theory,
his cabinet now,
Pizzagate and all these kind of, like, he's played off that base so much that have been so like very anti, virulently anti-child sex trafficking. It's like, well, if they find out that he, is potentially one of them, one of the people that they've been stoked to sort of hate and have been sort of conspiracy brain rotted on, then I think that might be something that was like integral enough to the foundation of his presidency to bring him down. I mean, he's already the most conspiracy-addled president, the Bitcoin and the corrupt deals with Qatar and the plane and the fucking what's his son-in-law's name, Jared Kushner, and his weird fucking $2 billion donation from the Saudis to manage their money, and like it's already fucking, I keep using this example, but Jimmy Carter had to give up his peanut farm because he didn't want to have any kind of like perceived conflict of interest around his, emoluments around his financial interests around the presidency. Like this guy's got fucking Melania coin, the crypto and the fucking NFT cards and the watches and the shoes. It's like, it's already the most corrupt presidency in history for the Americans. But like all of this, like if you were reading about this in a book, if it was a novel or if it was a movie, you'd be like, it's too much. It's just too much. You can't possibly have one president that's so corrupt and still.
Like, I don't feel like this is believable.
I just don't think it's believable. You need to choose the child trafficking thing or the Bitcoin thing, or you're just trying to do too much at once. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too much. But like the fact that he's even just the relationship, the friendship, which we know documented for sure, friendship with notorious convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein would be enough to bring down any other president in history.
Yeah.
And yet, like, for some reason, we're just like plowing on with this, like the simulation's being forced to continue. It's just like we keep getting forced restarts on the simulation because it keeps grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
And someone's just, doing Control-Alt-Delete, forced task. Like, it's just strains credibility.
Yeah. Well, speaking of credibility or lack thereof, so the government shutdown ended.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Senate has finally voted in favor of ending the government shutdown. It lasted for about 40 days. So, Trump got his longest in history
number one
moment, which he's proud of that, probably.
US number one.
You shouldn't, but yeah.
Yeah, well, basically the Democrats, I mean, there's a lot of, we can go into like dumb detail about this, and I'm sure Adam's probably listening to this saying, please don't. But essentially 8 Democrats basically just capitulated and said, well, Trump's not negotiating, and we've come off this historic sort of blue wave off, Zoran Mamdani and these two gubernatorial elections, and like everywhere where Democrats were on the ballot in these like early midterm elections, they swept the table, and the Democrats were up 20 points in the polls because everyone was riding high on this enthusiasm about how they were handling the shutdown and things were going so well for them. And Trump himself was saying the shutdown was affecting the GOP and negatively affecting them. And Trump's, personal ratings are the lowest they've ever been, low of any presidents ever in history, like in the 30% kind of approval, sort of stage. And the Democrats thought, well, now would be a great time to capitulate and give them everything they want. So 8 Democrats basically went behind the backs of their entire party and negotiated across the aisle with Republicans and put together a bill. It'll then go to the House. And of course, the House is Republican controlled, so it'll pass with flying colors there, and then it'll go up to Trump and he'll sign it. I think it's already been signed.
The Democrats thought we've won enough,
but they literally got it's okay, Tom, because they got everything they asked for.
Oh yeah, they got guarantees that the healthcare subsidies will continue and people won't get fucked out of being kept alive.
No, not quite.
What
did they get their changes on rescissions? So completely nullifying the whole point of the 60-seat filibuster, where you need to get 60 votes to pass something and all that sort of stuff. No, they didn't get that either.
Oh, they didn't get that.
What they did get though was a promise that they would get a standalone vote on the healthcare subsidies in the Senate without a guarantee that it would also be a vote in the House. So basically a ceremonial vote on the issue, maybe at some point in the future.
Yeah. So like not like, oh, we'll do it next week.
No.
Just, we'll do it sometime.
No. At some point we'll have a vote in the Senate, which may or may not do anything.
Oh, well, that seems worth negotiating with Hitler 2.0.
Yeah. And they were like, well, we and there's all this footage of Chuck Schumer going, it's basically like, get fucked, Republicans, we're not going to take it, and all this sort of stuff. And then like smash cut to today, well, the Democrats did the responsible thing and there was just too much suffering and we couldn't, like all this sort of stuff. And they capitulated. Sucks. Yeah. And Jon Stewart did a great thing this week. It was like, this week, the government shutdown ended by, brought to you by, I can't fucking believe it. I can't fucking believe it. It's just like, literally got nothing that they wanted except the vague outlines of promises. Gave Trump what he wanted when they were at the height of their sort of, maximal leverage and just pissed it all away. And it's just like, it's completely unsurprising for Democrats, but it's like, what do you expect from Democrats? Anyway, the 8 senators. So Chuck Schumer knew that people would be pissed. So he didn't vote for it. He voted against it. It's like, I'm voting no because I believe we should fight for everyday Americans. And everyone's like, okay, but this is your caucus. Like you're the chief, the head of the Senate minority leader. These are your senators. They wouldn't do this if it wasn't okay with you. And they've chosen, it just so happens that all 8 Democratic senators that voted for it aren't up for re-election for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So they literally
Hopefully people will forget.
Exactly. They literally strategically chose the senators that would be least possibly impacted by this vote, just enough to give them the votes they needed to push it through. Like it's grotesque.
It's just pathetic. Like it's what licks me back before when it's just like Kamala Harris saying, "How did I lose to this piece of shit? This is how." Because this is
all this weak bullshit. Yeah,
this is what we expect of you. Like
and they definitely set it up as though they were trying to get this, the healthcare thing, and they were going to fight and all this sort of stuff. And this woman
got tired.
One of the senators was like, "Oh, there's this man who said these Obamacare subsidies saved his life. He has cancer and he'd be dead now if it weren't for them." And she's like one of the senators from the Democrat side who voted it through. It's like, bro, how can you possibly expect your voters, your base to believe in you when you say you're going to fight for them, when you just cave at the earliest available opportunity? Like, I just don't understand. What do you guys think the strategy is? Like, why don't you tell me what you think it is? Because
it's
right now it looks like really there's fucking nothing going on upstairs. Chuck Schumer obviously is now facing calls to resign. And he's like, "Oh, but I voted against this." I was like, everyone sees what you're doing, Malaka. You're not tricking anyone. Like, everyone knows what happened.
Yeah, you've also just been a big useless piece of shit for a long time.
Famously so. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's naff as hell to say, but how do these people sleep at night? Like, I don't know how you can do that. I'm going to get up and use this person's story of surviving cancer
to leverage
big myself up and leverage stuff up, but then also do that vote.
But mostly people want bipartisanship. He wants bipartisanship more than his lungs. Apparently, you know what I mean? Like it's so fucking crazy. It's the same person.
Are just those two thoughts never in your brain at the same time? Like,
and especially once Zoran Mamdani has risen to incredible popularity. Just recently, won the election on the back of like promising to help people improve the material circumstances of their lives.
Yeah.
And then like it's just like Democrats couldn't have a good thing for like 4 days before they were like, let's capitulate. Yay. Like,
yeah.
It's just unbelievable the extent to which they're absolute spineless amoebas. Like there's nothing that they could do that would surprise me right now in terms of how much they're willing to bend over backwards to accommodate this regime. Like you're at your point of maximum leverage.
Unless they release the Bubba photo. That would surprise me.
So
and it would be great.
I think we've got a title for the episode. It's so just absolutely fucking weak sauce from them. I just can't fucking believe it. Brought to you by I can't fucking believe it. There were air traffic shortages and, SNAP benefits and things like that, which we talked about. So, it was getting to the pointy end of a shutdown where things would really start getting bad. But it's also like, if people are blaming Republicans for the shutdown because they hold all the levers of government, which they do, the filibuster has become this whole thing because they could change the rules and allow an exception to the filibuster for keeping the government open and just change the rules and allow it to pass on just like a complete party line vote with Republican votes. Like they could do that anytime they wanted to. They chose not to in order to inflict pain on the populace. And I guess Democrats' flaw is that they have empathy. And so, they know that the Republicans will kill the hostage. They don't care. But it makes them, like, by acquiescing to his illegitimate use of his power, it gives him more power. Like, by by allowing it to continue and not, popping the brakes on it, you actually make him more powerful because it's like, oh, well, we have to like appease him. We have to like work around him because this is what he wants. So this is what we think we can afford to give away. And the Senate obviously doesn't want to get rid of the filibuster, I think, not because they don't want to, or it's like some sacred norm that they like simply must hang on to. I think it's because Republican senators know that they can just like punt things. It's not our fault that XYZ didn't get through. It's not our fault. If we really have 50 plus 1 votes in the Senate and we can pass any piece of legislation through from a Republican controlled house, well, then we're the ones that are going to be on the hook for like implementing Trump's batshit agenda. And they just don't want the responsibility. I think they just want to like, just keep us out of it. Like it's 60 votes and like, that's the rule. We have to keep it because it's 60 votes. But I think it's because they know they don't want to be the ones holding the bag for all the crazy batshit stuff that Trump would do if he could just pass everything with a party line vote, right? Because they know it would radically change America. So I think they're just like, no, it's the norms. It's the filibuster. There's nothing we can do. But it's like they've made exceptions to the filibuster for heaps of shit before, right? So anyway, there were lots of Democrats that came out this week, obviously, like, very upset about all of this because basically the rest of the party, all the Democrats in the House are all aligned with this. Most of the Democrats in the Senate presumably were on board with this. It's just a small cadre of, I guess moderates or, sort of just Joe Manchins that are just happy to get in there and fucking do some bipartisanship. We're just like happy little moderates. Just we play golf together and, have the same eyes wide shut parties. Like we're mates.
Yeah, fuck. Remember Joe Manchin?
Oh, God. As I heard an interview with him the other day, I was like, fuckity, bye, Joe Manchin. I miss you not at all.
Yeah.
Just like preaching the value of moderation. And the interviewer was like, okay, but like, couldn't the Democrats have like really improved the material circumstances of people's lives with the bills they wanted to pass if you didn't delay a bunch of shit for like a year around the infrastructure bill? And like doesn't that actually disenfranchise, like doesn't that disillusion the people that you allege that you're trying to serve if you're blocking and moderating on all this shit, which would actually help people? And he just like doesn't fucking get it. He's just completely, just moderate brain rot.
Yeah, it's because or he gets it and is just like, no, I deflect it because graph goes up and to the right. The graph being my wealth. My wealth,
yeah, which owns a substantial interest in a coal mine, if I recall correctly. So
it has a yacht, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, just normal public servant stuff.
Yeah. All right, are we leaving America behind?
Please.
All right. Cool. So we haven't heard from this in a while, but it seems like the court date for the charges that have been laid against Alan Jones, the former broadcaster, is happening in August next year. Because I guess this is sort of interesting because there's been a whole bunch of variation in the amount of charges, how many complainants, all that sort of stuff, because they've been going up and down. Like some dropped, either due to withdrawal or just they've decided not enough evidence. They're not the ones they want to take to trial, like whatever. So it seems that the charges, he's facing 27 charges relating to 9 complainants. And it's so 25 counts of indecent assault and 2 counts of sexual touching. So, obviously he's denied all the allegations and is going to be defending them, but
if you're ever in a position,
139 witnesses or something are going to be called for this. This seems like it's going to be a trial of the century scale.
Certainly a trial that might take a century. I wonder if Alan Jones will be alive by the end of it. He's 84. I mean, So if you're ever in a position where you need to deny all the allegations against you, it's not a great starting point. Like if it's just like, and I deny the allegation against me vociferously, I deny alligator 1, I deny alligator 2, I deny alligator 3, alligator 4, alligator 5, I definitely deny. Alligator 6, okay, not so much. There's a fair, it's like once you start getting into like triple digits of witnesses, I don't know, it might be time to start settling some of these things out of court, Alan. I don't think it's going to go well for you, buddy.
No, well, yeah.
I know the proper term for someone who makes an allegation is not alligator. I was being humorous.
Yeah. It should be, though.
I think it's
Why not? Just, a bunch of alligators. So there was a reconfiguration of the case back in September, which is just sort of what makes this interesting. Like it dropped 11 counts of aggravated indecent assault were placed, and the number of complainants went down by 2. So things have been chopping and changing.
They're
around,
still working out exactly what they're gonna.
But I guess it's just interesting because I think we were saying in just chats amongst us a while ago, being like, "Hey, Alan Jones, haven't heard anything from that in a while." That was a huge deal. Back in May, I think, is where there were lots of arguments, sort of like the preliminary arguments were happening. So, August next year. I guess mark it in your calendars if you're one of those love watching court
watchers
play out.
Yes.
Court watchers. And was it someone we know just decided to go in just to the Bruce Lerman trial, the defamation stuff. I think last year, just for just with a thermos of tea, just to be I just want to be here for the theater.
I mean, tell me you haven't got kids without telling me you don't have kids.
If you've got the time,
if you got a free day. I mean, I absolutely
days on end in court, just they're like, "Ooh, I want to be in the room where it happened."
Yeah,
kind of thing. So. But in more Australia politics sort of side,
I was just going to say, just on the Alan Jones thing before we go. Obviously we're saying goodbye to this story, and God rest the soul of Alan Jones, if ever it is discovered. So you were saying, Tom, Liberal Party politics is going commensurately well.
It's just going great. I've heard that the strategy to get yourself re-elected after a huge bollocking,
tell me, is
dump the policy that was the only thing kind of saving you in some really marginal seats. It's a bold, amazing strategy. It works 60% of the time, every time. And just an absolute genius. So we talked last episode, I think it was last episode, about the National Party coming out and just dropping net zero. So the Nationals, part of the coalition, the Liberal National Coalition, sort of saying, no, we don't want net zero. Net zero, trash. So net zero emissions, get rid of it. We don't want it by 2050.
Yeah, so the idea
we're dropping this policy.
Australia wouldn't be contributing any additional carbon into the atmosphere over and above what we're taking out. Right? So that's been the commonly stated like agreed upon position. Like since the Morrison administration, like they were under pressure.
They were the ones that committed to it.
They were the ones that committed
the Paris
to it.
agreement. The Paris Agreement, as I understand it, was more aggressive than that.
Yeah.
And that was their compromise to be saying, like, we're doing something for the environment whilst also appeasing their coal buddies.
Yeah. What do we want?
So
something small. When do we want it? Eventually.
Eventually. So, and it was interesting that the Nationals did that because that's something that Barnaby Joyce, before announcing that he wasn't going to recontest his national seat and is basically quiet quitting very loudly the National Party.
Yeah, quiet quitting to it, whilst backgrounding to a journalist. Yeah.
Yeah. Quiet quitting in a press conference in front of a microphone.
I'm quietly quitting. Let me get Patricia Karvelas on the phone and let's have a quick chat about this.
He was often calling for net zero to be dropped, despite the fact that he was like a cabinet minister in the Morrison government, I believe, that signed them up to net zero by 2050. Yeah. Anyway, so that was always like, wow, even Barnaby can leave and still get what he wants.
It just shows you how far the far right in Australia has gone politically, like how much they've sort of pulled the Overton window to the right. Like it was a politically completely unpalatable position for the Morrison government to be against net zero. And so they were felt compelled to commit to it. And now it's just like, the gloves are off. The Nationals are pulling the coalition to the right, and their negotiation strategy in the Liberal Party has been to agree with whatever the Nationals say in order to keep their shrinking minority together. It's just an absolutely stellar negotiating strategy. Just like, hey, you do what we say or we're going to leave. And the Liberals just immediately capitulated.
They just capitulated because that's what happened this week. So now the Liberal Party, led by Susan Ley, opposition leader, voted to also drop net zero by 2050 as a policy.
Future former leader of the Liberal Party, Susan Ley.
Yeah, because I believe they did mention like, oh no, but we're still committing to our Paris targets. But we're dropping net zero by 2050. I don't know how.
But how?
But how though? It's just great to see that they never want to be elected ever again.
I mean, this is part of the dynamic which we talked about, I think it was last week or the week before, is like, if the Liberal Party, mathematically, just numbers wise, if the Liberal Party would like to see power again, they need to win back some of these blue ribbon inner city formerly Liberal seats that have been
seats that were like
pulled away from them by the Teals
and stuff, and or maybe like flipped to the Labor person very like closely, but especially the Teals. So it's like the dank memes this past week around this decision have been amazing. Seeing people like Tim Wilson, who lost his seat to a Teal independent in the 2022 election.
He won it back in the most recent,
and then won it back in the most recent,
but like by very, very slim margin. I think it was it Zoe Daniel?
Zoe Daniels. Yeah. Zoe Daniel. So seeing him just be like, fuck. Like, all these liberals who either
Tim Wilson cries in Teal, like
all these inner city liberal seats where
such as they are the remaining ones.
Like this where the center right kind of populace either went for Teals or very narrowly went liberal around the Teals, or went, well, we're fucked because the big reason that some of that went down was climate policy. They were like, fiscally conservative people who still gave a bit of a shit about the environment. And
we've got property portfolios, but we are university educated. We understand that climate change is a real thing and we need to do something about it. It's
that market.
Yeah, and formerly that was I remember growing up, it was like, oh, the smart, sensible people, the business owners, like they all vote Liberal because it's like when you're a young person, you're a lefty, and when you grow up and see how the world really works and you get your own money and you don't want the government to tax you, then you'll start voting Liberal. Like that's what my family always said to me.
In your 20s, you complain. In your 40s, you explain.
Yeah, literally. And oh my God, that's perfect. And just absolutely captures the condescension with which we were spoken to about politics in our early years.
I stole that. I believe Joe Hockey said that.
Yeah. And that's just a perfect Joe Hockey fat cat thing to say. Was he smoking a cigar when he said it? Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Probably.
And poor people don't even drive. Shut up, Joe. the idea that, you know, I just think about it now, it's like I should be the absolutely perfect sort of like target liberal voter. You know, I grew up in a very conservative household, you know, sort of ethnic background, Greek and Italian, sort of conservative. My dad was a small business owner, like all these sort of things which like line up with what you would traditionally associate with that sort of Liberal Party, sort of centre-right conservative ethos. I just look at the Liberal Party platform now. It's like, I don't have any reason to vote for you guys. Like, you are not offering me anything. like thinking aside from like social issues in the environment and the broader world at large and how we deal with our neighbors abroad and all those other considerations that one has that are voting, like when voting, just putting all that to one side, it's like, you are offering me nothing that improves my material circumstances. No childcare, no, there's nothing that they would do to improve my life in any meaningful way. So it's like, why would I vote for you? Like, other than just like blind party loyalty. Like, you need people in suburbia, young families that are coming up to vote for you because they are now the largest voter cohort. So if you're completely isolating that entire cohort, all of the people in the inner cities, it's like, well, who's left? Like the outer exurbs before they turn One Nation or the Nationals? Like, you know, it's just like, it's a real diminishing sort of voter base that they're targeting. I just don't know how they expect to ever achieve any kind of positive electoral outcome again at this rate. And I say that not as someone who's like thrilled with the Labor government. I think they are too centrist for my liking. I think they would be more aggressive and progressive on quite a number of issues. But it's like, who else is there? Like, there's no, you know, like.
Yeah, I'm definitely in two minds on that. In that sense that I love seeing them make decisions that mean that it's just going to be harder and harder for them to get re-elected. Like, yes, the tears are delicious. Like the Schadenfreude be flowing,
but it just
at the
makes
same time,
Labor more
it
centrist.
Means that Labor's just can coast.
Yeah, exactly.
They can just coast through now, and we're like, oh, great. So yeah, fuck. The other guys are definitely not getting in. And the Greens are definitely not getting in. Like, you know, they're not at that level yet.
No, their voter share is...
So they don't have to try.
The Greens' voter share is deteriorating. They lost seats in the last election against, to Labor. So it's, you know, you've got the far left, you've got the far right, and now you've got like the far middle in Labor. you know, like you've the extreme middle.
The apathetic middle.
And
so that's disappointing because it like can really tank chances of some like really much needed change.
Well, we need a credible opposition. Like, I obviously don't think that they should be, you know, denying climate change and, you know, the sort of Catherine Deves sort of like anti-trans kind of wing of the party. That's kind of like, I don't think they should be doing any of that sort of stuff. Right. Like, surely there is a reasonable center ground where it's like center-right of politics, that like compassionate conservative kind of thing. Like, you need that side of politics to keep the government in check, because if they're never scared of losing their seats, then they're never really forced to deliver for their constituents, because as you say, they can just kind of coast. Like, you need a credible opposition in a two-party system in order to hold the government to account. And they've just seemed to have abandoned all who enter here. you know, like, it just seems like there's no sort of credible plan for them to ever approach speaking to the, average middle class Australian consumer anymore. Political consumer, you know what I mean? It's just they've just kind of abandoned ship.
Because George, all those things like childcare, that'd be socialism.
But the thing is, it's like
socialism.
A lot of these things that the far right would call like socialism now were just like de rigueur politically for us growing up. They were just normal. Like, our parents grew up with free universities. And yes, that was a Labor policy, but like, it was maintained under subsequent Liberal governments. That was just like the Overton window of what acceptable politics was, what people expected out of their politics was there. And like, Liberal governments, you maintain that for some time, right? So it's not as though that was just normal 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Now what's normal is very, very different. You've got this hyperpolarized far right. You've got a kind of unsatisfactory middle where they don't think anything's really wrong with the system. It's kind of this neoliberal view of like, oh, well, everyone's making money and the profits are good and the ASX looks good. And so we just need to tinker at the edges. Maybe we can fiddle with super balances over $3 million and maybe get a little money. They don't think the system is broken because they don't live in the real world. They live on their highly paid multi-$100,000 a year salaries. And, you know, it's like, what could a banana cost? $10? Like they just have no fucking idea how people who, if you're out in the world earning 60, 70 grand and you're working and both of you are working and you've got a kid and you've got a mortgage, like a lot of people are really struggling to make ends meet. And the political representation is just completely clueless to any of that. And they're just, if we tinker a little bit here and there, we'll increase the subsidies for this, or we'll increase the first homeowner. Like we'll just tinker around at the edges. But the system as it currently stands is good. Like that's the central problem is like they think even Labour,
they think it's fine.
They think it's fine. And it's like, hey, living in this economy, not earning several $100,000s a year, let me tell you, it is not fine. Like,
totally not fine. I was talking to my wife the other day about like the first homeowner sort of stuff of like, the government could guarantee like parts of the deposit and it's only a 2% like
you can draw down from your
deposit
super
or whatever. Like, I was like, oh great, only having to save up 2% for the loan. Like, yeah, that sounds awesome. That'll make it so much easier for me to get $1.5 million loan.
Yeah, no one's going to lend me $995,000.
Like, that's not the problem. Yeah. Like, or they would, and then I can't afford that. Like, right? And so, like, the problem is not just how easy it is to get into the loan. It's also that like things like houses should not be as expensive as they are. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And they're not, anyway. and it seems like the Labor government is just interested at sort of tinkering at the edges rather than having any sort of big wholesale radical change. And what would you expect out of them as a centrist party? You wouldn't expect that. So, but it's like
especially when they're not under threat to be unseated.
Yes, and that's the key. Is like no one else is offering people, you know, the voters, what it is they want. Yeah. And so Labor feels like they're under no pressure to offer it proactively, because why would they?
And they, you know, they bollocked the coalition so hard last time that they don't
because
need
it was
the
mainly
support
done,
of the other perspectives. Like, you know, that's sort of, you know, the Greens have never been a party that's like had like, you know, formed power or something, but in the Senate and things like that, they were always there as kind of the check. So sometimes it's like they needed their support to pass something, and they could drag them.
Yeah, well, now
like,
one nation,
necessarily a leftist utopia. But
one nation's going to be the check and balance in the Senate, which is fucking terrifying if things keep going as they're going.
Yeah, that is fucking terrifying. Like that. Yeah, so it's kind of. It's where a bollocking of your opponents can be really bad. You
can win too hard. And I think that's what Labor's done, is they feel very safe.
They've won too hard.
Because they know they've got at least another election. Like, they're not going to lose the next election. Even if they shed a couple of seats, that's probably reversion to the mean. That's things going back to normal. And they could probably shed a few seats and get another term, maybe another 2 terms out before, you know, they're really under any serious threat from the Liberals. And they may, if that ever happens, which it may not. So... yeah, they feel very safe right now, and I think they're moving in ways that feel very safe. And you would think that a massive victory would sort of embolden them to go further, or we can do more, we can, you know, be a bit more progressive, a bit more radical. If anything, it's had the opposite effect, or they've just won so hard that they can just rest on their laurels and just
they don't have to try.
Coast. Yeah. On that happy note, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that are ruining the world, that have, do, or ever will exist, at our handle at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and motherflippin' TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Threads at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And you can follow us all down to... no, I'm not going to...
Moscow to demand the photos.
Yes, there we go. Very good.
Come on, Putin. Release the Bubba pics.
Oh, God. Could you imagine? Oh.
Just so great.
People say, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about on a news podcast every week? Surely you're going to run out of stuff to talk about. Well, they never heard of Jeffrey fucking Epstein.
Yeah. Oh, man. Also... this episode was 58 minutes, just about 59 minutes. And we didn't have Adam, like, to rush us along.
I was going to say, we did it in under an hour, and we didn't have Adam giving us the fucking wind-up signal every 3 minutes. Yeah. How's that, Adam? Suck eggs.
Well, no, I think it's great. We've clearly internalized his
I've internalized my Adam. My Adam sits on my shoulder going, "You're being boring. No one wants to hear about fucking interest rates or the neutral rate of interest or risk-free rates of return." Or I've internalized his boredom, and now it lives within me.
Yeah. Now I've got two Adams. I've got like one in his little like his white toga, just being like, "Look, let's wrap it up. Let's move it along," and another in his skimpy, sexy devil costume, just being like, "Seriously, guys, move the fuck along."
Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
Idea for Halloween next year, Adam.
Stupid
sexy devil costume.
Stupid sexy Flanders.